Look at my horse is amazing. His legs don't work, but he tastes just like raisins. Geeks, nerds, gamers, and trolls. This is your MMOBomb.com first look at Fractured Online. It is a sandbox open world MMORPG developed by Dynamight Studios and published by Gamigo US. Keep in mind, this is a first look video, not an expert guide, not an in-depth review. We're just taking a look at the first few hours of gameplay, help you decide if it's a game that you might want to try for yourself. Right now, Fractured Online is in early access on Steam and is available to get into for as low as $25.99 and as much as $129.99. There's a few packs in between there. The bronze is $25.99. Silver pack is $49.99. The gold founders pack is $79.99, and the platinum one is the $129.99. And of course, you'll get different rewards and stuff in game depending on which tier of the founders pack that you purchase. So let's start off in the beginning with a look at character creation. There are going to be 3 different races that you can create in this game. Right now, only 2 are available, the wild folk and the humans. The wild folks, you can choose between tiger people and elk people. You can change color, pattern a little bit. Not a ton of customization available in this game right now. And then when you go to the humans, you select male, female, and you can change your hairstyle or your beard style if you're a man, and your hair color. There's nothing really about the character models to write home about, nothing overly exciting. Keep in mind, though, you will be looking at them from a top-down isometric perspective, so you're not going to be necessarily looking them right in the face every time, so they don't have to look the greatest of all time. But this game is going for a little bit of that old-school feel, a little bit of that Ultima Online nostalgia is what they're shooting for here. So they've made the choice to make some of their character models and stuff, you know, look a little old school, a little less polygons on the models, and nothing just overwhelmingly phenomenal to look at. You can choose your starting class, which is Gladiator, Bowman, Arcanist, and Street Rat, which is basically, you know, a melee, a bow user, a mage, or an assassin / thief, whatever you want to call that. Much like the character creation and the character models themselves, the world is not much to look at. There's trees and things to harvest and rocks and slightly different terrain, but everything looks pretty much the same on each planet. The Terra planet, where the wild folks are, there's a little more blue and a little more color, blues and purples. The planet here that we're starting on for the humans is all greens and browns, and it doesn't really change a whole lot from that, unfortunately. Here I am running around farming goblins, and you're going to be doing a lot of farming, whether it's materials or creatures out in the world. As you kill certain creatures, you'll learn knowledge of that creature. Here you can see there's the brown bear that I've learned some knowledge of, but I've learned all 100% of this goblin cutthroat. So now I see all of its stats and abilities and everything that it might have. When you go down to the bottom is abilities I can learn from those goblin cutthroats. You can see the ability in the middle I'm already using. The 2 other abilities I've discovered from the goblin cutthroats, but I have to use the knowledge points I acquire from finding resources in the world, finding map areas, and uncovering those and killing more of the creatures until you reach 100%. Each specific creature has its own knowledge that you can accumulate from it and its own abilities that you can accumulate from it. So if you're wanting to get a specific ability, you've got to figure out, go look at the wiki or find out which creatures have that ability, then go out in the world and farm those until you get that ability dropped for you. While we're talking about abilities and the passive tree, we might as well swing over and take a look at those right now. Resting at a campfire or a fireplace gives you access to your abilities and passives. Here you can see all the abilities I've unlocked. All the grayed out ones are the ones that I have to go find still out in the world. And then some of them you can see, even though I've discovered them, I've got locks on them because I haven't spent my knowledge points down there in the bottom right. I've got 6,300 and something knowledge points. And this is the passive tree. You also can spend your knowledge points to unlock passive points. As you can see, it takes a big chunk every time. So that costs like 2,000 knowledge points to unlock one passive ability or one passive point. And then I can spend it in this passive tree, sort of a mini Path of Exile sort of deal going on there. Not nearly as twisting and huge as the Path of Exile tree is, but it does kind of have a similar vibe with dexterity and strength and magic. And some of these are still in progress, still being made, still being implemented. So not every node has something in it right now. But the basics for like your perception, which is what I'm using a lot, because my abilities scale off the perception, you'll want to look at your abilities and see what they scale off of to determine which tree you're kind of wanting to go into. And I've got some points in movement there, as you can see. Then there's a strength tree. Then there's a fortitude tree where you can get more health and magical armor. Then there's another tree that isn't implemented yet. And then there's the mage tree where you get your magic and your mana regen and things like that if you want to run around as a mage. So after hours and hours of farming and selling stuff on the marketplace, I finally got enough money together to buy my own plot of land. And here we are buying that plot of land for the very first time. As you can see, there's going to be upkeep in 7 days. It cost me 4,000 gold to buy the plot of land. It's going to cost me 2,000 more to upkeep it in 7 days. So I'm going to go out and grind some more gold, gather some more items, sell some more stuff on the marketplace because I'm broke as a joke right now. So once you've got your own plot of land, you can set your blueprints for some of the things that you're going to want to use. Here you can see me, I'm trying to fit a house on this plot of land, but that one's a little large because I want room out in the yard to be able to place some other things. So we're going to place the blueprint for our house. And once we've placed the blueprint for the house, it's going to pop up and we can start adding materials into it. I believe the house requires stone blocks. So once we've set the blueprint for the house, we can go out and start collecting stone, turning it into stone blocks, and start adding it into our house slowly over time, and that'll build our house up. Same goes for this wood cutting bench that I'm about to build right now. Once I put the blueprint in place, it's going to require wood logs. Luckily, there's a tree right over here, right just below me, that I can just chop down and use the wood logs to add to that to get that built up and be able to cut wood logs into wood planks, because the logs themselves, logs and stone and raw ore, you can only carry in your hands one at a time. But you can get these wagons, either hand carts or pull behind horse wagons, that you can use to carry multiples of it and carry it around and lug it around. And that's how you get lots of raw ore or logs or stone from one place to another with these carts. And we'll show that here momentarily. Here real quick, I just wanted to show you finishing up one of the blueprints that I've put down, the wood cutting table there. I'm adding the last log to it now. So then I'll go through a little animation once enough logs have been added into it of building it, and boom, there it is in the world. Now I can go take logs and add them to it in order to cut them into planks. Now the planks are heavy and I can't carry a lot of planks at once. But here you can see we're going to go pick up another log, one of those trees that are luckily nearby my plot. We're going to add it to it real quick and then cut it into wood planks. Pretty typical survival type gameplay stuff. You know, you build the station lets you create the next thing, and then you got to build the other station to refine that into something else. So like the wood cutting station, I need softwood logs, right? So I can cut them into softwood planks. Right now, all I got is this hardwood log, so I have to cut it into hardwood planks just for show. But then I take the softwood planks and I can build it into a new short bow or a new long bow. So pretty typical crafting survival type gameplay, what you're going to be used to. And here's just a short clip of me showing you now I've got the cart and pulling it with my horse. And I'm going to chop down this tree and just add some logs to the cart. So you can see, I can pick those up. I can add them to my cart. It's very simple. You just pick them up and you click on the cart. It adds it to them. Then you can see them in the cart storage. And then you just pick up all your logs you want to add in there. You see how much storage space I had in the cart. So it is limited. You can't just carry infinite logs in there. But add those to the cart. Then I can hook my horse back up to it and start making my way back towards my my little plot of land there. Boom, I'm all hooked up and I'm ready to go home with my logs. And like I said, this is the way you carry home like ore and stone and any large raw material. You're going to have to hook it up to a cart and pull it to either your home where you've built some stuff, or there are towns where if you become a citizen of that town, you can use a lot of the tables and crafting benches and stuff in the town. So you can take a lot of that stuff to town, or you can just go craft or just go gather and get together a bunch of materials and then just sell them in the trade chat and be like, hey, I've got a cart of gold ore. I want to sell it for, 10K gold or whatever. And other than going and farming the goblins or creatures out in the world, there are some bigger, more challenging things that you can go fight. I haven't gotten to the point where I can participate in any of those. I need a lot more knowledge points. So I'm still waiting and farming and trying to get to a point where I can participate in some of the bigger hunts for maybe some of the bigger, more scary creatures. But let's talk a little bit about just my overall experience in the game so far. And so far, my personal experience has been that there's nothing overly exciting going on here. There's some old school feel to it. If you're looking for a nostalgia kick like that, it's definitely a sort of a open world sandbox survival MMORPG. There's no quests. There's no anything like that. You go out in the world, you explore. For me, combat has been extremely boring and repetitive. Not very interesting at all. The world is pretty boring to look at. And I'm not talking about the old school look to it. I'm just talking about it's just all brown and green and there's not much going on and there's not much differentiation. All the towns, they're laid out a little different, but they look basically the same. All the homesteads look basically the same. Everything just kind of looks bland and sameish, and combat just doesn't make up for any of that. So overall, it's nothing overly exciting for me. This was a game that was on my radar early on. I thought, hey, sandbox MMORPG, you're speaking my language. And while I don't strongly dislike the game, there's just not enough here in this early access to really keep me interested in what's going on right now. The grind is a little long for me, especially to get my first homestead. It took me a while to get that. Maybe I did it suboptimally, but either way, it took me a while to grind out that gold to get that. And I spent the majority of my playtime just trying to grind out gold so I could get access to my own piece of land, so I could actually start feeling like I was accomplishing something by going out and gathering things and bringing them back to my compound and being able to actually build things that I'm going to use and move forward in the game. Really, I felt like I wasn't able to move forward in the game until I got my piece of land, till I got my plot of land, and I could create some of this stuff to where I could start really crafting and like upgrading my bows and things like that. I became a citizen in a town in order to try to use the woodcutter there. But even after I became a citizen there, I wasn't able to use the woodcutter. I don't know if permissions just weren't set correctly or if it's a bug or what. But becoming a citizen in the town didn't do me any good to use the woodcutter. So I had to wait until I got my own plot of land before I could even build and use a woodcutter. At the end of the day, I think the strongest comparison to this, as much as people want to say, oh, it reminds me of Ultima Online, is the strongest comparison to what's out right now is Albion Online. And Albion has just got a deeper pool of things to do, of activities. Of course, it's got years of development under its belt at this point, but At this point, you're just comparing apples to apples here between this and Albion Online. Other than the art style, the gameplay loop is very similar. The way you go out in the world and gather materials and use your mounts to carry those back to town. It's all very similar. And at the end of the day, I think I'd rather just play Albion Online. As a guy who enjoys sandbox MMORPGs, this one is just not doing it for me. But it might do it for you. Maybe you're just looking for that old school nostalgia. Maybe this is exactly what you're looking for. I'm not here to judge you if this is what you're looking for. All I can speak of is to my personal experience and my personal feelings on the game. And there's just too many bugs. Sometimes abilities don't go off when you press the ability button. That happens quite often. As you saw at the beginning of the video, my horse didn't use its legs to move, which is not a game-breaking bug at all. But the stuff where your abilities don't go off when you press keys, and I've ran into significant rubber banding out in the world, especially when I get close to a town, whether or not there's people in that town. Just the fact that I'm getting close to a town, the rubber banding gets worse, and you can see me stutter back and forth as I move in and out of town areas. So keep in mind it is still in early access. It does get an opportunity to improve some things in that aspect, but at the same time, they are accepting money to play the game now. It's not free to play. You have to buy in with a founder's pack, so you have to pay money if you want to play the game in early access. So I feel like some of the critiques of combat not being overly exciting, the bugs, especially the combat bugs, are unacceptable at this point. If you're accepting money for a game, your combat should at least work. And I was just expecting more. I was just expecting more excitement, more to do in the world. I was expecting combat to be a little more exciting and entertaining than what it is. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to give this one a thumbs down for me personally. Hopefully it's something that maybe you want to try, but you do have to buy into that early access. So keep that in mind if something you want to give a shot. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this is a gamigo game. This is published by Gamigo. If you're not familiar with that company, they're pretty notorious for cash shop shenanigans and milking games for all they're worth monetarily. I haven't seen anything so far in this game. There's no cash shop in the game. So far, so good. But I wouldn't trust Gamigo any further than I could throw them, to be perfectly honest with you. So that's going to do it for this first look for Fractured Online. Thank you so much for watching. Always head over to MMOBomb.com to check out the latest news and information on online games that you want to play. I've been the Noob Fridge, Troy Blackburn. You can follow me on Twitter at NoobFridge. Thank you so much. We will see you guys next time. This first look is done. I am out.